Hello, and welcome to today's episode. The Bible is referred to as the living Word of God. It isn't a book that is meant to simply be read. It is a perspective-altering substance that is meant to be ingested and absorbed into you. And when it becomes a part of you, it changes you. And it is meant to. A psalm is a spiritual song based on a profound, foundational insight that is expressed in the form of music, which is usually plucked out on a harp. This is my own paraphrase of the Psalms. Now, there is an important difference between a paraphrase and a translation, and it is important to understand what that difference is. A translation takes a text word by word and finds the most accurate word in another language to convey the meaning of that original word. But sometimes getting the details right can come at the expense of the big picture. For example, the literal translation for a butt dial and the literal translation for a booty call could end up being exactly the same if they were translated very literally into another language. And yet we all know that those are two very different ideas being expressed. A paraphrase, on the other hand, is attempting to capture the spirit of the idea that is being expressed. But both approaches have their own disadvantages. Sometimes the most literal translation for each word, while technically accurate, loses something in its translation. For example, if you were to translate the phrase, "cat got your tongue," into another language, it would make no sense to them. Why would a cat grab your tongue? What are you even talking about? In order to convey the original idea, you would have to find out which saying is used in that other language to express the same concept. But it might not involve a cat, or even any animal at all, so the literal translation would not be a very accurate one. But in a case like the one that I just described, the idea is more important than it is to stick to a very literal translation that loses all of the intended meaning. However, because paraphrases are an individual's interpretation of the underlying idea, instead of a rigorous academic translation of the word, they are not as accurate as a translation is. A paraphrase is a lot more subjective, and that makes it much more susceptible to interpretations that are way off the mark of the original text intent. The focus of a translation is on detailed accuracy, and sometimes the broader picture is not conveyed very clearly as a result. The focus of a paraphrase is on painting that big picture, but it often loses the accuracy of the finer details. Both of these are useful, as long as you understand which is which, and what the disadvantages to each approach are. That is why I recommend using both an accurate translation, like the New American Standard, and a responsible paraphrase. Psalm 10, Part A, the first 11 verses. Most High, why do you pull away when I need you the most? Why are you elsewhere in times that are so full of trouble? In their arrogance, lawless people have begun hunting down the vulnerable. But the truth is that they are the ones who are trapped and lost inside the maze that they have constructed out of all of the plots and conspiracies that they continually dream up. Yet, as they head in every wrong direction, they actually boast about their lusts, while they proclaim that their self-centered desires are actually a virtue. They despise the Most High with all their heart and defiantly curse all that he is. And all that he is abhors the vices of envy that they celebrate. But they persist in traveling down their own path with their stuck-up noses held high in the air, believing that they are above any need to seek the sacred and the divine. They each reassure themselves that there is no God to hold me accountable for my choices. And so, because they naively believe that, the divine creator never once factors into their thoughts. And indeed, their plots always seem to succeed. Yet the consequences of your verdict hang over their head, even though they do not see them. And when it comes to the upward-aiming people who oppose them, he sneers at them and snorts in derision. In his heart, he tells himself, the ground that I stand on will never shift. I will never have to pay the piper or face the consequences of the path that I took, not now and not ever. His mouth is filled with vile threats, repulsive slurs, and oppressive lies. His skillful tongue tries to mask the harmful poison that his deliberate abuses contain. He hides in plain sight while he lays his ambush, looking just like any other harmless person. But secretly he kills and devours the innocent. For he is always on the hunt, his eyes scanning for any vulnerable prey. He lurks unseen like a predator in its own familiar hunting grounds, waiting to pounce on some poor defenseless wretch. Then he snatches his prey and drags them away. His helpless victim cowers in his clutches, but it is too late for that poor unhappy soul. He crushes them without pity, and his powerful jaws rip their throat out. Then that monster tells himself, God doesn't care about what I did. He wasn't watching. He will never even know. But he is wrong. I pray that whatever voice God might choose to give me in this world, he would also give me the words that I should use it for. These words have meaning for me, and if they had some meaning for you as well, then I am truly grateful that we have both been given a gift from above and from each other. Have a good day out there, my friends.